Hey guys, this is my 2009 Ferrari 430 Scuderia, and I will do a cold start real quick for you. I figured I'd just do a nice little walk around video of the car. The whole entire front end has been repainted other than the hood, or bonnet was clear coated. The front fenders, the front bumper, the front rockers, and the doors were all repainted recently. And after they repainted it, I had them add PPF to all those items and ceramic coat the whole car. I also added these gold stripes. They're vinyl, and they go over the top of the factory painted silver stripes. So this car did have the option of factory painted stripes, but like I mentioned, I just laid gold vinyl over the top of them. This car does have the carbon rear diffuser. It does have aftermarket exhaust. As you can see, it's cold. So we'll go ahead and start it up. So that was a cold start. This car does have the carbon interior package, or the carbon fiber package back here in the engine bay. I believe all the Scuderias do. The car has 16,800 miles on it, give or take, a couple miles. I do drive the car, and it's been an excellent car to drive. You can bid with confidence in this car. I think you could be as far as New York if you wanted to be from me. Jump on a plane, come out here, start the car up and drive it all the way home. I don't think you'd have a lick of problems in this car. It's been fantastic for me. I've never had one issue. And it does everything a Scuderia should do. I leave a trickle charger in here, so every time I'm parked or anything, for a long period of time, I throw it on a trickle charger. This car does have the Alcantara seats with the lightweight material mesh on the inside. Hopefully you can see the bolsters are in great shape. Come over here and show you the driver's side bolsters. It's not very bright over here in this shop, but they're in great shape. This car does suffer from some of the sticky button syndrome. These buttons down here are in pretty good shape. The window up and down buttons are a little rough, but that's just a really common issue on these cars. I think generally to clear it up, all they do is take off that soft rubber material that's on the outside of them, and then you're just dealing with a hard button. So in general, I've usually just left it the way it is. It's kind of a manufacturer's defect that you just have to deal with exotic cars that come from Italy, especially in this era. But that's about the only thing you really have to deal with in these cars. And it is missing, any of the paperwork and the manuals, things like that. It's also missing a couple of panels that cover these areas right here. It sucks that they're gone, but it doesn't change any performance aspect of the car, so I've never worried about replacing them. You can find manuals on eBay and things like that. I don't know where you would necessarily source these panel covers. Here on the back bumper, there's a little bit of it almost looks like a scrape, but I've seen this on other Scuderias. I don't know if it just gets hot and it cracks a little bit right here. And then there is just a teeny scrape right here that you can see. Probably not even visible with the camera. And then here on the driver's side, there's a little bit of a blemish, and looks kind of like a little bit of a rock chip or something like that. That's about the only issues when it comes to the paint on the car, because I had all the other issues addressed when I repainted the front end. So when it was an accident, it got rebuilt, and they did an excellent job. When I had the painter look at the car, he took all the panels off and everything, and he said that everything looks completely straight and he didn't see any structural damage anywhere. And I will also include some pictures that I had found on the original damage of the car. I felt as though, just from looking at the images, it probably didn't have any structural damage. It looked like it was mostly, a couple body things and then suspension. And also it blew the airbags. And so typically blowing the airbags, especially in exotic cars, they're going to note them as salvage. So all that stuff got repaired, put back together, and the car drives excellent. It drives straight as an arrow. And it's been a fantastic car. The car has carbon ceramic brakes all the way around. The pads are extremely deep. The rotors are in great shape. These brakes are amazing on the street. I took this car on the track and I only did a handful of laps in it because the brakes did not come into heat well, and I didn't want to sit there and drive it on track all day long to try and figure that out. The car was phenomenal on the track, other than these brakes did not work that great on track. But on the street, they're amazing. You stop on a dime. They're very grippy. All right, I only have one key, but it does work. It locks and unlocks the car. Go ahead and start it up. one of the things I wanted to touch base on about this car is the fact that it is a rebuilt car. But one of the nice things about this car, even though it has been salvaged, is the fact that it has lived 3 times longer of its life as a salvage car after the accident than before. So typically, you know, I wouldn't buy a salvage car myself. And I completely understand anyone out there that really isn't in the market for a rebuilt car, and they've always been concerned about having anything, you know, in their stable that has been. However, you know, I got lucky about 5 or 6 years ago. I found a Lamborghini Murcielago that I knew had went 10,000 miles since it had been rebuilt, and it was an excellent car. And ultimately I purchased that car. It was one of the best Murcielagos I've ever owned. I sold it to a neighbor, and he still has that car today. So when I came across this car, and I knew that it had been 8 years since it was rebuilt, and it had went 8,000 miles, I felt like it was worth taking a chance on. And it's been a fantastic car. So ultimately, my theory was correct. You know, if it was a car that had been in an accident, but it has been driven and it's proven itself that it's actually in good condition and a drivable car, it feels as though to me that there's a good possibility that it's going to be a good car. And ultimately this one was. I can completely understand anybody's hesitation on purchasing a salvage car. I have that same hesitation. And of course, if this car had just been in an accident and just barely repaired, there would be tons of questions that would have to be asked, and whether or not, you know, it's going to be able to stand the test of time. But luckily this car, you know, it's been 10 years now. It does everything it's supposed to do. The transmission is phenomenal. It shifts excellent. The engine runs excellent. You know, it does everything like I mentioned a Scuderia is supposed to do, and it does it very well. So if you have any hesitation or concern about purchasing this car, just know that it didn't just happen. You know, it's been, like I said, it's lived its life, you know, 3 times over since 2013 to now. So hopefully this helps anyone out there trying to make a decision on whether or not they would want to add this car to their stable. And just know it's going to be a good car, and I think you're going to enjoy it.